This video is about anxiety and why it makes sense. Let me say something that most people have never been told. Anxiety is not being broken. It's not weakness. It's not failure. Anxiety is your body trying to protect you. And that's an amazing thing, but it doesn't feel that way because most times we protect in unhealthy ways. I'm Joshua Alston. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I'm a certified emotionally focused therapist, and I suffer from anxiety. Most people treat anxiety like it's the enemy, something to get rid of, something to suppress, something to medicate away. But anxiety is not the villain. It's a nervous system that's learned that the world is not always safe. So today, I want to offer you a different perspective on what anxiety actually is, why it shows up the way that it does for you, and why it actually makes sense. Because the moment you understand anxiety, you start to use it as it was intended, and that's actually pretty amazing. Anxiety is not just thoughts. It's not just worry, it's not just overthinking. Anxiety is your nervous system detecting threat. And even if that threat isn't actually happening right now, your body is consistently scanning the world for danger. But not just physical danger, emotional danger. Rejection, conflict, failure, abandonment, being judged, being alone. And when your nervous system believes that one of those things might happen, or is happening, it hits the panic button. Your heart rate's up, your breathing shallow, muscles tighten, and your mind starts to race. That's not weakness. That's survival. Your body is saying something feels unsafe. We need to be ready. The problem isn't that your body learned to protect you. The problem is that it learned from an unhealthy world. This is why anxiety feels so confusing. You can be safe in the present, but your body is still reacting to the past. Your nervous system doesn't care about logic, it cares about memory. It learned, when I speak up, I get punished. When I get close, I get hurt. When I fail, I get rejected. When I relax, something bad happens. So now, even when life is calmer, my body stays on guard. Anxiety isn't always predicting the future. It's replaying the past. And it's doing it because of one point, being hyper-aware. That kept you alive emotionally. Which is awesome, right? That's one of the things that we want to promote. Our body is doing an awesome thing, but it doesn't feel that way because of the unhealthy patterns that it's learned to use. So before I continue, my anxiety is telling me to remind you to make sure that you subscribe and you click that notification bell. So here's what most people miss. Anxiety is not random. It shows up around the places you care the most. Your relationships, your performance, your safety, your identity, your worth. Anxiety is the part of you saying, please don't let me get hurt again. Please don't let me get embarrassed again. Please don't let me be alone again. Anxiety is not trying to ruin your life. It's trying to prevent pain. It just doesn't know that you're not in danger anymore, and you have to rescue it. The problem is that when people try to rescue themselves, they think that they need to fight anxiety, and that only makes things worse. When you fight anxiety, your nervous system hears danger. Then you shame yourself. Then your nervous system hears rejection. When you try to force it away, your nervous system hears threat. And then it gets louder and louder because the nervous systems don't calm down when they're attacked. They calm down when they feel safe. You don't heal anxiety by overpowering it. You heal it by understanding it and responding with healthy, safe actions. Because how you rescue yourself is actually by giving your body the healthy and safe it didn't get in the past. What calms anxiety is not control, it's connection. Connection to your body, connection to your emotions, connection to someone who sees you. When you slow down and you breathe and you name what you're feeling and validate why you are feeling it, you're telling your nervous system, I'm here, you're not alone, and what you're doing makes sense. You are giving your body what it didn't have when your body first experienced anxiety in the past. And that's how the alarm starts to turn off. Not because the world becomes safe, but because you become safe within yourself. Lastly, you learn to find safety by changing how your body defines you. Let me give you an example. For the longest time, I dealt with anxiety. And I dealt with this idea that I either had to be a good person or I had to be a bad person. And every time something good happened, I would say, okay, I'm good. Good. But because I was human, I had a lot of moments where I felt like I was bad. And so what happened is these two things, these two ideas, kind of started to fight. They kind of started to fight within themselves and say, hey, you're bad, you're good, you're bad, you're good. But ultimately got to the point where they started beating up. So this good part and this bad part, they could not coexist in the same place. And so I became this very anxious person. And it kind of took over. Many panic attacks, many anxiety attacks. But what I discovered and I want to share with you is, what if it's not about being good or bad? What if I'm allowed to always be good? What if I'm allowed to always be good and have the empathy or understanding that humans have bad moments or weak moments or vulnerable moments? And so when I have a bad moment, it does not define me, because being bad or having weakness is part of being a human, and as a human I'm good. I'm amazing. As I started to look at this, I started to see myself so differently. One of the things that popped out for me is being a father. I'd look at myself and say, oh my gosh, I'm being a good dad by doing da-da-da-da. But most times, because I was human and misunderstanding myself and unhealthy, I had many moments where I said, I'm unhealthy. I'm a bad dad. And I defined myself by that. But what I learned to do is that even when I had a bad moment, instead of defining myself by this moment, I looked and said, who do I want to be? I want to be a good dad. And so that's going to be my goal. That's where I'm going to define myself. And so I started to look at myself as a beautiful human being that had faults, not to justify them, but to be able to own them and to look towards what it is that I want to be and find a healthy compass, a healthy way to see myself and my anxiety. So if you struggle with anxiety, okay, you're not weak, you're not broken, you're not failing. You have an amazing nervous system. It's doing the best with what it was taught, and it's just how it's learned to survive. And now by watching this video and being open and curious, you're learning to help your nervous system to feel safe in a healthy way. And I'm so glad you are. Next week's video will be on feeling numb, disconnected, and not yourself. And to keep learning more about how to see yourself and your emotions differently and why you make sense, make sure you subscribe. Thank you.